All right, Toronto Raptor fans. What a fantastic game against the Brooklyn Nets. Did you see that comeback? Did you see Fred VanVleet under pressure draining those threes and Gary Trent Jr. with the buckets at the end of the game to make it count and get that victory? What amazing defense by Pascal Siakam and Scotty Barnes. Oh my gosh, this is a game for the record books. We were down by, 36 at one point, and we came back and won the game. I can't even believe it. What a shocker. What an unbelievable fourth quarter. Holy gee, I thought there was no chance. I didn't think it could happen. I thought there was no way possible. Sitting in that first quarter where we gave up another 40 points, plus back to back, after coming off of that depressing loss to the New Orleans Pelicanos, we showed Brooklyn who's boss. We showed them that we're actually ahead of them in the standings and that we're a better team. Oh, wait a minute. I better check my notes, actually. I'm looking here at the box score, and I might have made a mistake. Looks like we actually lost the game, 114 to 105, because once again, Nick Nurse did not have us prepared. How can we come into a game in a division rivalry against the Nets? The Nets, who, why don't the Raptors hate the Nets? I hate the Nets. I mean, maybe that's an NBA thing. Everyone else seems to be in love with each other, high-fiving and giving hugs to the other team after they destroy them and embarrass them. I don't understand that. I know it's a brotherhood and that they're all, only 400 players or whatever, and everybody that makes it to that level, respects everyone. Yeah, great. But, if I've got the logo on my jersey that's not the same as the other team's logo, they're the enemy. Plus they have Kyrie and KD and Joe Harris. Ugh. Claxton. I mean, okay, there's no real reason to hate Claxton. Even probably not Joe Harris, but he's just a three-point punk specialist that actually drains them. I mean, what the that first quarter. The first quarter, they were hitting 80% three-point shots. They were like 12 for 15 at one point. What the heck? Every shot was going in and every Raptor shot was not going in. But this is where I'm taking Nick Nurse to task. We just got brutally obliterated by New Orleans. I keep going to say the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Pelicanos. Come on, man. We need to come back better than this, man. I mean, Jesus. We got humiliated. They didn't even have C.J. McCollum or Brandon Ingram, and yet they slaughtered us. And now, our first half, we end up, I don't know what the exact final of the first half was, but at one point, we were down 35. It was 65, 30, 31, something around there. I'm going by memory, but it was embarrassing. It was pathetic. It was disgraceful. It was not, well, no, it was. It was typical Raptors basketball. So Nick Nurse, call a flippin' timeout. When we're down 14 to 5, call a timeout. But don't let it get to that point. If we come out losing, let's call a timeout when they get to 10. If they get to 10 and we're still at 2 or we're still at 4, let's call a timeout, okay? I don't understand why we don't want to try to get ahead. Does Nick Nurse not understand that the points are accumulated throughout the game? It would have it so that we don't have to come back. We're on a 9-0 run in the fourth quarter and then we're still down by 10? We're still down by 12? I can't take it anymore. It would be so nice to win a first quarter, but not even the whole first quarter. Let's win the first 3 minutes. It's even sad when it's 9-1 or 12 to 4, and we got to come back in the times that we do actually win the first quarter. Nicky Nurse. There's going to be some Nicky Nurse nursery rhymes coming. I can tell you that. But so let me just go to my notes for 2 seconds and see what the heck I wrote about this game. Let's get some. Let's look at my first quarter notes. Raptors suck. sure that I'm not missing any of the points I wrote here. The Raptors suck. Here I've got the Raptors suck. Raptors suck. Yeah, anyway, and the Raptors suck. No point in going to the notes. The Raptors suck. I actually did I did the top 3 depressing plays of the game for this one because, I don't know, that's the way it's going. I mean, I'll just rant for another 2 minutes here, and then I will consult my actual notes and tell you what I had as the worst 3 plays, and if there's any other main points that I wrote down while I was watching this debacle. But I thought the Raptors were going to be 3rd in the East this season. Yep, you can go back to video number 1. It's already recorded. I can't go back and change it. And the Brooklyn Nets are one of the pathetic teams that I thought we were going to beat. I mean, Ben Simmons is sitting there on the bench wearing a toque and I don't know, some kind of funky. I mean, actually, I didn't mind the design on it, but it did seem a little bit thick to be sitting indoors. They were commentating on that on the broadcast. I think Alvin Williams even had to stop their incredible banter back and forth to digress to speaking of Ben Simmons and what he was wearing on the bench. But I digress. The Raptors need to play better. The Raptors need to be organized. Nick Nurse, do you not understand that you're messing with the psyche? Like, we already have the worst psychological mentality in the league. The Raptors, I mean, again, it's probably because I watch them obviously more than I'm watching any other team, but we have mental issues. We are not strong mentally. I think that the Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment should take all of those millions and billions of dollars that they have and hire the top psychics, 7 top hypnotists, and let's get into the brains of these guys. But messing around with the starting lineup, Nicky Nurse, is not helping. Do you understand this? It is not helping. There is an ego of these guys. These guys are in the cream of the crop in the league. They've always been that. Most of them have been the best kid in their city, in their state, in their country, wherever they're from. Pascal Siakam, probably one of the top guys in his country before he gets here. I mean, I know Koloko's from the same neighborhood, and I think Joel Embiid is maybe from the same country as well, but Cameroon. But yeah, these guys have egos like this. You can't push them around and dick them around and move them in and out of the starting lineup and oh, yeah, you're going to start. Now you're not. I mean, you see Scotty Barnes' body language at that press conference after the game? Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I'm coming off the bench. It's all right. Yeah, right. He meant the exact opposite. He was like, yo, this is not cool. I was the rookie of the year last year. I need to be starting. Gary Trent Jr. needs to be starting. I mean, it's nice that he's in the mix at the end of the game, but come on. And the other thing I got to comment on, we need some people to hit some shots. Otto Porter Jr. is turning into a pretty much a disastrous signing. I was excited to get this guy as a 3-and-D, but he ain't playing. And when he is, he's hesitating to shoot the 3. But all the Raptors are hesitating to shoot the 3. But you know why? Because we aren't playing proper basketball. We got to stop this ISO mentality. We even run these weird plays, passing it around, but it ends up in an ISO play again. Like, we're not getting anybody open looks. We don't have anyone that can catch and shoot on this team. It's they catch and hesitate. That's what it seems to be. Catch, oh, I'm going to go up for 3. No, you're too close to me, and I'm too scared that I'm going to miss the ball, so I'm going to, run out the shot clock and put us into a pressure situation where we got to throw it up at the last minute, or we got to ISO it over to Siakam, and everybody knows that ISO is coming, that Siakam's going to do a spin and a spin. The defense collapses. There were a couple of times where it was so crazy that almost all 5 players on Brooklyn were in the paint as our guy is going in. Nobody's afraid. And then what? We're designing plays to kick it out to Koloko for 3? Like, come on. And Boucher, like, you got to get your stuff together, buddy. I love Chris Boucher. I'm a Canadian boy. I love the Canadian players. I love that the NBA, we passed France as the second most players contributed into the NBA other than the United States. It's like second to the United States. But come on, Boucher. Work on your 3. Let's practice. There was a moment where Chris Boucher was so wide open up beyond the 3 point line, but he wasn't even looking at the basket. His defender was like 4 feet, 5 feet away. Fred Van Vliet did a wrap, but where he would have went behind him, but he went in front of him because there was so much space. Nobody's afraid. Nobody is afraid of these Raptors shooters. You know, they're inconsistent. Scotty Barnes, when he throws up a three and hits it, it's a fluke. Fred Van Vliet needs to stop dribble driving into the lane, into the paint, and then getting stuffed. That is not a useful play for you, Fred. Kick the ball around. Let's get the ball over to the weak side. Let's get their help defenders moving and coming off of our players and finding the open guy or kicking it back to Fred when you are open for a three. I love you, Freddie. I know you're steady, Freddie. I've seen you play in the finals. You got an MVP finals vote. I was there. I was watching. But come on. You cannot be such a ball hog, especially when you're not going to make your shots. I know you obviously have no crystal ball to be able to predict whether when you take it in, it's going to go in or not. But stop going in among the trees and trying to put it up there and getting stuffed. It's embarrassing. It's deflating. It destroyed the whole rest of the team. You can see it, their body language. OG's over like going, hello, can I possibly get a look here? Instead of you and your buddy Siakam just playing give and go back and forth with each other. Come on. OG can actually hit threes. Let's get him going. Gary Trent Jr. can hit threes. Let's get some plays where we work it around and get one of them open in an open look. So then the floor will be spread so Pascal can do his little loop-de-loop side spinorama, or you can get a Boucher doing some cuts, or Thad even in there cutting. Gary Trent Jr. on some cuts. Scotty Barnes on some cuts. But I don't know. We seem to limit our plays to Fred goofing around, dribbling in and coming out, and maybe finding somebody open on the side. But there's no real, swing, 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 or try to drive and kick, as a plan. And when Fred, I just got one more beef. Freddie, when he throws up his alley oops. In fact, I'm going to stop myself there because I know that's one of my. By the way, I did check my notes, and that comment earlier with the Coloco 3, that was a play out of a timeout. I'd forgotten that off the top of my head, but yeah, that was out of a timeout. We end up with kicking it to Coloco in the corner for three. Not good. I did have another note about the ref sucking, and I don't want to bail the Raptors out because they are looking to the refs too many times, and maybe this is part of the cause of it. I've never seen a team cry so much to the refs, and I know when Kyle Lowry was on our team, maybe it's a personality that he kind of developed for us, but at one point I saw Fred Van Vliet crying to the ref while the play was still going on, like he's trying to catch up to the defender that blew by him, and he's crying to the ref that there wasn't a foul called. And yeah, we got to stop that. But the refs do definitely suck and work against the Raptors. It's just a Canadian thing. I believe most of these refs are going to be American, and just we're a foreign country, and so anyway, let's stop trying to get foul calls. But and then two other quick points before I go into my sad, pathetic plays of the game. On the note earlier about not having any spacing with a 3-point threat and Pascal being in there, and the defense all collapsing. The one play in particular I jotted down where, almost the entire defense of the Nets was in the paint. They're also swatting at the ball. Like even when, they haven't quite fully committed to double team Pascal, they're still sort of loosely guarding their guy in case he does happen to kick it out so they can kind of run at him, and sort of contest the three. But their hands are active and close enough that it's messing with Pascal as he tries to turn the one way to do his spin move. There's a ball close enough and it swats and just nicks the ball enough to put it out of, where Pascal had it in his dribble. So then he's suddenly losing control of the ball, and the whole thing just, it's not good. It's not good. We've got to get our 3-point guys or somebody in there to hit some threes so that we can actually, have open spaces for Pascal to be able to cut to the basket. And then the last point that I want to make, never mind Pascal fouling too often and getting into foul trouble way too early in this game. At one point I'm wondering, where the hell's Pascal? Why is he not even out there? It's because he's sitting on the bench with 3 fouls already. And he ended up with 5, so he's playing the last 10 minutes where we're trying to crack down our defense, and we've got Fred VanVleet with 5 and Pascal Siakam out there with 5. Maybe Fred only had 4, but still, yeah, 2 of our best defender guys are sitting there, having to walk on eggshells. But the last point that I need to make, and Pascal is the worst for this, but other Raptors do it too. Let's stop giving in to the Raptor player calling for the challenge, the coach's challenge, okay? Because it's not good. You guys do not know what you're doing out there. I know you get emotional, and I know you get caught up in the heat of the moment when that whistle blows. But Nick Nurse, ignore these guys. You got Pascal. Now I'll admit it was close, and when they first showed the replay, it looked like maybe he didn't touch. I think it was Kyrie that came in on the one play. He had his hands up. He was vertical, but there was an earlier, his hand, left hand actually it was, as he came in, he's sort of pushing him off, and then he backs up and gets his hands up to try and be clear. But stop pressuring Nick Nurse. What's he gonna do? He's sitting there going, "Hey, my guy Pascal there, is saying challenge it." So he does out of respect for Pascal, but that's not a good position to put the coach into. Okay, we've got people. Maybe he doesn't understand the process, but I would imagine that somebody has got a flippin' iPad and they're sitting there watching every play of the game. And when something's close, they go, "Hey, Dave, was that a foul or not?" And he goes, "Give me 2 seconds. I'm just rewinding the play." And yep, no, I don't see. I think the ref was wrong. So then they go, whoop, they try and sort of stall as long as they possibly can before the guy starts shooting his free throws. And then they go, "No, we're going to time out and challenge that one." Pascal, stop it. But all Raptors stop it. But Pascal, you're the worst at trying to get Nick Nurse to challenge. Because later on there was a play that was close, and this is what inevitably happens. The player pressures Nick Nurse to challenge in like the second quarter, and then something happens in the fourth quarter or down the stretch that we really should be challenging, and we don't have a challenge left. So the rule is lame. You should be able to challenge, almost any play, or everything should be reviewable. Or the NBA should be sitting there in the ivory tower and reviewing every single play, and then calling in and going, "Actually, no, you guys got that wrong." But with all the ticky-tacky foul calls, I know that's not the easiest thing to do. But anyway, now let's get to the 3 pathetic plays of the game. These aren't necessarily in any particular order. They're sort of in the order that they happened, actually, because, I don't know. They're all sad, so it's hard to rate which one is the saddest. But, again, alluded to this one earlier, sort of, but there was a play when Fred VanVleet, this was like about midway through the third quarter, Fred VanVleet goes in to try and do one of his dribble drives, and he got stuffed so badly by Kevin Durant. I mean, it's ridiculous that those two end up in matchups, because it was even happening in reverse, that Fred VanVleet is defending KD, and it just looks ridiculous. I know he's kind of down there. Maybe the mentality is that Kevin Durant's so tall that he's going to dribble the ball, and kind of forgot that the ball actually left his hand to go hit the floor because it's so far away, and it takes so long to get back up that maybe VanVleet's going to somehow be between his legs and grab the ball or something. I don't know what the strategy is there, but come on. And yeah, Fred, when you go in and you see anybody over, I don't know, 6'5", let's cut it off at, anywhere near you, kick it out, dribble through, run through their legs, do whatever. Kyle Lowry, I remember, went through someone's legs a couple years ago. Just get out of the area and kick it back out. Don't try to force it up, because, man, when you get stuffed, it's depressing. And I know the whole team sees it, and they start to think, maybe we're a second-class team. We know this bet on yourself guy can hit threes, and he has some moments where he pulls it all together and plays well. But we've got an undrafted, just barely 6 foot tall point guard, as our floor general. Maybe we're a second-rate team. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm probably just upset with Mr. VanVleet. But speaking of that, let's get to our next pathetic play of the game. Yeah, my next pathetic play of the game is what I also kind of mentioned, with Fred VanVleet attempting to do an alley-oop to Koloko, and this goes, it's because of his size, just barely being 6 feet. And again, I got to go stand beside this guy because I think he might be my height, but I'm like 5'11" area. I think I might be comparable to Van Vliet. But anyway, his the trajectory, like it's coming from such a low place that he tried to do an alley oop to Coloco, and just got rejected. It got stuffed. It got knocked out of the air. It was at I wrote it down. It was at the score was 89-68, and yeah, so it was definitely maybe even early fourth quarter. Um, Pathetic. Van Vliet needs to work on his alley oops overall. In fact, the Raptors do. There was one that I don't know what the heck. Scotty Barnes, I think, tried to throw one up, and oh my God, he threw it like he was inbounding a soccer ball or something. Like I don't know who he was throwing it to. Maybe he saw his friend or something in the crowd and tried to throw it over to them, but it did not make it anywhere near the net for an alley oop. It was awful. But anyway, Fred Van Vliet attempting his alley oop to Coloco is my second sad play of the game, and I'm going to go right into my third one, which is also Fred Van Vliet. The very next play, he loses the ball. I mean, obviously it wasn't the next play because he tried the alley oop that got deflected. They come down. I believe they scored because they were scoring everything. But I can't specifically remember. Maybe we got lucky and got a stop. But then, yeah, Van Vliet takes the ball and tries to go coast to coast, and he just ends up losing the dribble at the other end, and the ball goes out of bounds. Those are the kinds of possessions that are depressing. I know the Raptors work hard. Well, today we committed a ton of turnovers, but usually we're causing turnovers and we're getting on the boards, and so we're having more possessions, more attempts than the other team, but we can't waste them running down and throwing the ball into the crowd. Because again, you know, I'd be out there for a lot less money than Mr. Van Vliet, and I could throw the ball all over the place and lose control of it, and you know, the Raptors would be more profitable. They probably would have less viewers though. And then my yeah, I don't know why weirdly I've got four sad plays. Well, these are kind of it's almost five, but Scotty Barnes uh, losing the ball in a similar fashion to Mr. Van Vliet. He also went like a coast to coast situation. It might not have been totally at the other end. He was possibly past the ball just at the halfway mark, but he comes running in, same thing. Loses control of the ball on the off the dribble, and then he's looking at the ref like someone fouled him. When Scotty, your handle is not the greatest. I mean, Pascal Siakam's handle is sort of crazy because he gets all, you know, he's like dribbling the ball, and you don't know what the heck he's gonna do, which maybe partly throws them off, but you don't feel like he has the most sort of skill at actually controlling the ball. But Scotty Barnes, he's got like a he's dribbling the ball sort of so high. Like there's been some moves where he kind of can do it and things work out, but I swear sometimes those are flukes. And yeah, he just tries to kind of do too much and loses control. And then my sort of last sad play, which I don't hope Scotty Barnes was injured, obviously, because we've had enough injury problems this season. But where Scotty was getting frustrated that he was actually trying to do some of his dribble moves, and then he went back and they said maybe they banged knees or something, and then he sort of shot put the ball at the rim, and I wasn't sure if I thought did the shot clock suddenly expire or what the heck is he doing, jacking that up, and then he's hobbling back, and then there's a whole confusion about whether we can switch a guy when they score, and that we had to use a timeout, and oh geez, and they're talking to the ref going, he got hurt, he's hurt, but we don't even understand the rules that you can't just sub out. Maybe again because we're Canadian, they're being influenced by hockey and thinking that they could just jump over the boards and send the other guy in, but my gosh, Scotty B, you got to be better, my man. So anyway, it was a sad overall game. It's depressing. It makes me, second guess why we're doing these videos, but I'm just kidding. I told you, the reason that these videos are on here is because I'm a Raptor fan. I look for people to bask in the wins with me when, afterwards when I'm scouring YouTube to see who's out there talking Raptors, and I'm looking for people to commiserate with me in these losses. So, I don't know. Put a comment. Let me know what you think. What should Nurse do better? What should the Raptors do better? Do I have any of these things way off? And tell me why I suck and why I don't know what I'm talking about. and maybe I will learn something from your comments. So thank you very much. Like, subscribe, pass it on to a friend. I appreciate you guys sticking around this long. Mr. Beast for president, and we will see you guys. Ooh, there's a game tomorrow. I don't know. My wife made some kind of plans. I'm gonna try to watch it, try to get something up, but it's gonna be a game time decision. So anyway, thanks for watching, and until next game, have a good one. Thanks. Bye.